I just want to thank you all for being here. I'm Shaz Roth. I'm the president and CEO of the Pajaro Valley Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture. We want to welcome all of our candidates tonight. Thank you for being here. Steve will introduce you individually. But I also want to let you know about an upcoming event that's happening. It's the State of the City, and it's going to be coming up on the 17th of October. That's a Wednesday at 5:30, and it's going to be taking place in the City Council chambers. And it's sponsored by the City of Watsonville and the Pajaro Valley Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture. And with that, I would like to introduce Robert Singleton. We are co-sponsoring with the Santa Cruz County Business Council. And Robert, thank you for being here.
Thank you, John. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you all so much for being here. We're really excited to be working with the Pajaro Valley Chamber to run this event to make sure that we all have an opportunity to hear from all the different candidates here running for office in Watsonville. We're really excited about the opportunity to hear about your perspectives and values about the city. And with that, I just want to say thank you all again for being here. Thank you to our candidates for all you do for our community, both in service to the city, but also in your own personal lives. With that, I'd like to introduce Steve Bennett. So Steve Bennett is current publisher of the Santa Cruz Sentinel. Publisher. Okay. He's also a board member of the Santa Cruz County Business Council and has been a previous board member of the Pajaro Valley Chamber of Commerce. And he was our moderator back in May for our supervisor forum, and he did such an excellent job that we just had to invite him back. So without further ado, Steve Bennett. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert. I do aspire to publisher someday, but as of right now, my role and task is Director of Advertising, Marketing, and Community Relations. Give it time. Before we get into this, I thank you for the kind words about doing this before. I did enjoy it when we did it for the supervisor forum previously. And the format will be, there will be 5 questions. We'll go district at a time. And it'll be pretty straightforward. You heard what she said about the 30 seconds and then the red. But before we do, we have this gentleman sitting next to me. Some of you may recognize him. How you doing, Walt? And you're not running. You're running out of pose, right? Or something like that. Or why don't you tell folks? So, ladies and gentlemen, your mayor, Walters.
Thank you very much, Steve. You know, I don't really need a microphone, but is this being recorded?
It is actually.
Okay, well, I'll use the microphone in that case. I just want to thank everyone for being here today. You know, but first of all, let me introduce my wife, Wendy. And I think you all need to know about me, that, you know, Wendy keeps me sane and balanced and, you know, provides love to our grandchildren and our children and pets the dog a lot too. So, and is this supposed to be my 2-minute introduction?
Sure, she'll give you the yellow card.
Do I have another shot at it? For those who don't know me, I do have 3 pictures on the wall out here. I was first elected in '89 and re-elected after that. So this is really my 5th go-around for elections. And you know, people ask why, and I would come back and do this kind of stuff again. And it's really the kind of public service that I do enjoy. I was a Peace Corps volunteer, I was an agricultural teacher for 32 years at Watsonville High School, and I always like to do public service for one reason or another. So I'm pleased to be here, and I welcome you too. And I also want to say thank you for the many people who have expressed their condolences regarding the passing of my father. I received lots of cards and flowers and lots of pats on the back and love. And so I want to say thank you very much for that. My time up?
You have 30 seconds.
Oh, well, let's see. What else do I want to say here? 16 years on the council, 2 years in the Peace Corps.
Thank you, Lowell.
Thank you.
I was a little thrown off. We were going to do that at the end, actually, but Lowell kept turning around looking at me. I just thought it was a good time to do it up front in the beginning. So thank you, Lowell. All right, so we're going to do our 5 questions here. We're going to start with District 4. And we'll start, I'm going to go in order here in the way that they are seated right now for this first round of questions. Say it again. Oh, I guess I should do introductions all the way down. Huh? Well, there you go. So that is number 1 on here, though. Number 1 is 2-minute introductions. I said question, but that's what I meant. All right, so let's do the 2-minute introductions. And for those of you that are wondering, you may want to write this down if you're interested. It is being recorded, and you will be able to get this off YouTube, I'm told, starting on Friday. And then by Monday, we'll be up on the Chamber's website as well. So if you're ready to write this down, I'll say it again later if you're interested. This is a YouTube channel called John Doe 13K. There's a space between John and Doe. So the words John space Doe 13K. That's the YouTube channel, right? Did I get that right?
2 words, yes.
2 words. John was the first word, Doe second. I believe it's your YouTube
Doe
channel,
13K,
right? He's
yes.
going to put it up there. All right. Very good. Thank you for doing that for us. We appreciate it. All right, let's start right here, District 4. 2-minute introduction. The clock is starting. Francisco Estrada.
Thank you, and just wanted to thank everyone for being here today. My name is Francisco Paco Estrada. I am the current Grant Officer for the Pajaro Valley Community Health Trust, and I'm also a history teacher at Parnell College. And the reason that I decided to run is I think the empty seats are the reason why I decided to run. The apathy frightens me, and especially the apathy with the Latino community and people my age, the young people. Their inaction really kind of worries me, and I think it's contributed to this sort of this future that we've been building that is unsustainable. And this unsustainable future includes unaffordable housing. It includes a lack of livable wage-paying jobs. It kind of means cutting services that are needed in the community. And having our homegrown talent, I cannot count the number of friends, our talent that have left Watsonville because the common phrase I hear is, there is nothing here for me. That saddens me as a young person. And I hope it saddens you as well. And so, as someone who was born and raised in Watsonville, as the son of hardworking immigrants, as a historian, there is hope, there is optimism. I like to tell people that the future is not written. We still have an opportunity, a unique opportunity to build the city that we envision and that we want, and that includes, a city where everyone, a family has enough to raise their kids here, to have businesses owned by our neighbors, and a community that invests in our young population to lead us to the promised land. So I'm just here to tell you that I am here to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Francisco. And the opponent, running also in District 4, 2 minutes clock, please, on Jenny Sarmiento.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry I have to stand because I'm petite. And I really need to see all of you. My name is Jenny Sarmiento. Thank you for joining us today. It's exciting to be able to see all of you and talk to you. I am running for Watsonville City Council because Watsonville is my home. Even though I wasn't born here, I've spent over 20 years working in Watsonville. The last 11 years, I lived in Watsonville. I bought a home, so made Watsonville my home, and this is where I plan to stay. I've worked in social services most of my professional life. I also worked for Tony Campos, who was county supervisor. And the last 5 years, I've been serving on the Planning Commission, where I've learned a lot about how to bring all those things together, public health, social service, and mental health services, alongside with the decisions that we make at the city when it comes to building, businesses, and everything that we want to do to make sure that the community is healthy. I have a BA in sociology and psychology. The last 5 years since I retired as executive director of a nonprofit, you have probably seen me in the community volunteering and organizing lots of different events to address several issues that we've had in the community. So I am fully invested in making Watsonville a better, healthy place.
Thank you, Jenny. Before we move on, I did notice that our cameraman made a point to make sure that when you are speaking, please make sure you're speaking into the microphone so we pick that up as well. So I know we're sharing microphones, just try to be cognizant of that as we move down the line. All right, let's move on now to District 5. 2 candidates here. Start the clock, please, on Mr. Casey Clark. Casey.
Good evening, and thank you all for being here. I am running for Watsonville City Council District number 5. I've been a member of this community for decades at this point. I have been involved with the Santa Cruz County Fairgrounds, the Sons and Daughters of Italy. I'm currently on the Sheriff's Advisory Team, and, and a current City Commissioner. I want to cultivate a business-friendly environment here within the city. I want to be inclusive and make the environment for everybody. I want to bring representation for all the people within District 5, everyone, to have a voice and to be represented. I would like to promote smart growth. Our city has so much potential for growth, but we must do it intelligently and with foresight. We must look at the impacts that these developments will have on our current infrastructure. I take pride in this beautiful community that we are blessed to call home. I look forward to watching it grow successfully in the future.
Thank you very much, Casey. And Casey's opponent in District 5, Rebecca Garcia. Start the clock, please.
Actually, he's my opponent.
You are each other's opponents.
You're equals.
I'm actually, first I want to say thank you.
Microphone?
Closer. There you go.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay. First I want to say that I'm going to read my statement to you. The reason being is we were given 2 minutes and there's just so much to share that I time myself and I want to make sure that I'm under those 2 minutes. Okay? So I was born and raised in Watsonville near the fire station. I attended local schools, graduating from Watsonville High School, received an AA at Cabrillo College, a teaching credential at BA at UC Santa Cruz, and a master's in education administration in San Jose State University. I worked for the Pajaro Valley Unified School District for 18 years as a teacher and as administrator. Administratively, I was vice principal of Watsonville High School and principal of Rolling Hills Middle School. I have been volunteering in the community for over 35 years because this is my home. I lived here almost all my life. And right now, I currently am on the Second Harvest Food Bank Advisory Committee. And I'm also a CASA volunteer, which means every week I meet with a 14-year-old young woman and try to mentor her. She is in foster care. I served 20 years on the Cabrillo College Governing Board. And for the last 4 years here as a city council member, I have worked closely with all the residents in my district and in the city. I really believe I have provided leadership at both district and city level. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to have time to say everything. So what I do want to say is I've had district and neighborhood meetings at the district level, and at the city level, I have brought up issues such as climate change, human trafficking, flavored tobacco sales, housing affordability, predatory lending, and reaffirming a sanctuary status. My most recent accomplishment has been the initiation of the summer youth program, where my time's up, but there was a summer youth program.
Thank you. And to Rebecca's point, she is the incumbent, and I did not mention that in the beginning, so thank you. All right, for our next group, District 7, there are 3 candidates, all new. Let's start first, 2-minute clock, please. Let's hear from Ari Parker.
Hello, my name is Ari Parker, and I'm running for Watsonville City Council, District 7. Although public service started in my family with my great-grandfather, Hilo Refugio Cano, who was the constable of Pajaro for over 30 years. It is my mother, right there, Aurora Ardice Parker, who's inspired my public service. My mother is the first in our family to graduate college and has been a teacher for over 50 years. I went to preschool right on 2nd Street and K through 12 grades in the Pajaro Valley Unified School District. I received my bachelor's degree from Santa Clara University and then attended graduate school at UCSC. I was raised to value hard work, education, respect cultures, and serve our local community by tending to family, friends, and neighbors. I'm running for city council to improve the neighborhoods that make Watsonville special and unique. I understand the priorities of our neighborhoods, and it is important to me that our city give everyone the opportunity to enjoy a good quality of life and a city that works for them every day. As a council member for District 7, I'll use my experience in public service, fiscal negotiations, and community service to help shape a better future for our Watsonville neighborhoods. I believe problem solving together with council members in other districts will help to solve some of our more complex problems that we have here in Watsonville. For years, I've been working to improve our community by teaching for over 3 decades in the Pajaro Valley Unified School District, by supporting and working with neighbors, by collaborating and working with our city leaders through neighborhood and community organizations, as well as working on city and county commissions. Some of my supporters and endorsers, Supervisor Greg Cabot, Mayor Lowell Hurst, Watsonville City Council members Nancy Villasich, Felipe Hernandez, Trina Kaufman Gomez, and Aurelio Gonzalez. Clearly, this coalition of diverse community leaders who have endorsed me for city council are supporting me because I'm a nice person, but I'm also someone that can work collaboratively together. Thank you very much.
Perfect, thank you all very much. Our second of 3 candidates for this district, Steve Trujillo. Awesome.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the forum. I am the one person on here who is not able. As an adult, I chose to be here. The story is the fact that my partner had a serious stroke while I was on the board of the Santa Cruz School District in 2014, and we realized that because he lost the ability to use his left side in speech, I had to find a home for us, a one-story home that was affordable. And our realtors steered us to Watsonville, where I live in Pajaro Village at 774 Bronte. I've served for 2 years on the board of directors for the Pajaro Village Homeowners Association. In addition to that, I'm currently on the City Personnel Commission, which rewrites and discusses and adds job descriptions for the 300-plus city employees that work here. In addition to that, I'm also on the YMCA Board of Advisors, and for some of you, I'll be coming to you real soon for hopefully a cash advance to the YMCA so they have a successful fundraising season. It is a wonderful organization, and I'm proud to be associated with it. In addition to what I'm proud to be associated with is the fact that a group that I belong to, the 60-plus GLBT group from the Diversity Center, will be awarded a special award because of our work being honored by the Santa Cruz Volunteer Society the end of the month at October 24th at the Coconut Grove because of our work with GLBT seniors. I'm the only member of the steering committee that lives in Watsonville, and I work very hard not just with the GLBT community but the community who is also heterosexual in order to make them feel like they belong to the city. I'm running on a campaign of Watsonville Renaissance, and to build on what Pop was saying, yes, Pop, I feel the same way. We need to get younger people involved and not apathetic. We need to get all people involved and interested in bringing Watsonville to where it can achieve what it's meant to be, a great city.
Thank you, Steve. All right, our final candidate, also from District 7, Lupe Rivas. Shall I start the clock?
Yes, I'm Dr. Lupe Rivas, and I came to Watsonville about 19 years ago, but I really have learned to love Watsonville, and I think mostly because I really identify with the parents and the families here in this area. My family was also very poor. They worked the fields. They were just trying to make ends meet. There were 7 of us, and for me, college was almost an impossibility at the time. Thought my parents would never be able to afford sending me to college. So I worked myself to college, I worked in the fields, got a job in a grocery store, and then I came here about 19 years ago, but I had already been teaching in Bakersfield for 27 years. But I fell in love with this area, and I became here as a bilingual coordinator. And as a bilingual coordinator, I got to see all the schools out there. I went and traveled to all the schools, got to see what the teachers were doing, what the students were doing. And I really could see these families, I could see myself in those families. They were struggling, they were hard workers, But luckily, I was able to make it. I was able to go to college. I was able to make a living as a teacher and be able to raise my children. And so that's what I really want to do. I want to be able to come in here, help the families, help the community to aspire to get their dreams, to achieve their dreams. And as a member of Watsonville, I've been an active member. I've been in the school board for 4 years. I helped implement a lot of the new programs that came in. We reduced class sizes. We were able to add our music back. So I'm really an involved member of the community. So that's what I want to do. I want to really work to make Watsonville a better place to live and include everybody in the process, and so that everybody prospers in here in Watsonville. So I really would like your support and let you know that I am very qualified to be in this position. Plus, I'm very bilingual, so I think that's really a plus in this position. Thank you.
All right, we're going to jump into the questions now. I'm going to keep it district by district, but I'm going to mix up the districts a little bit. So I will start question number 2 at District 5. Our first question will go to the incumbent, Rebecca Garcia. Here we go. As an elected official, what kind of business do you think we should be attracting to Watsonville? And how are you going to work with the city manager to make this happen?
Well, our city manager informed...
The microphone.
Our city manager informs the city of all business opportunities available to Watsonville. However, I have had one-to-one conversations with him about businesses. Most recently, Watsonville has had new businesses established at the airport, and we supported the owners of the East Lake Shopping Center in approving a beer brewery and staff alike grocery store. Downtown, I spoke to the owner of Forever Fly, Skate, and Apparel and his success in business, and he's just delighted with the support he has received from the city and the residents of Watsonville. In conversation with the city manager, 2 areas that Watsonville needs to attract are using technology to support our agriculture economy, and since we have a Kaiser, perhaps we can expand jobs in the medical arena. We have had many meetups here in Watsonville, and many of our farmers have come already to share with other farmers the technology that they're using to sustain their agriculture and farming business. And the farmers that are not using technology, they're learning about technology. So the city really needs to encourage this type of business to come to Watsonville. And we're a small city, and small businesses are what makes up who we are. So we are reaching out. Hopefully, we've had new coffee shops come. We're having new restaurants come. So we keep reaching out, hoping that we need to develop that economic business part of our community. And on the city council, I've been very supportive of all of what we've done in terms of supporting businesses.
Thank you, Rebecca. Same question for your opponent, Casey.
Well, I want to attract all businesses and maintain a healthy working relationship with the businesses that are already within the city, especially if a current business wants to expand. I want Watsonville to have the reputation that it is inclusive and business friendly. I want to encourage industries to join our community that can supply sustainable jobs for our residents. I look forward to working with the council as a collective body to secure our city's sustainability for future generations. I want to note that the city manager is just one facet of this equation. We also need to work in concert with the airport, the Farm Bureau, and the Chamber on these issues, so that everything comes together and we are able to have a wonderful city to enjoy with all of our businesses and our residents.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Casey. All right, let's go down to the last group. We'll go to District 7. I'll repeat the question one more time for the entire group, and we will start this time at the far end, so we'll start with Lupe. One more time on the question, as an elected official, what kind of business do you think we should be attracting to Watsonville, and how are you going to work with our city manager to make this happen?
Yes, I really think it's important to attract as many businesses as we can to our area. We need jobs, people in our area need a place to work. I think service jobs are really important, that we have people here that need jobs in the service industry. But I also would think that we would be able to do maybe like a mini malls, God Chucks. We need to do something with that building in God Chucks. I would love to see a mini mall there for maybe stores like Macy's and Kohl's and places that we go visit. I travel to Santa Cruz sometimes to go Macy's. I travel to Gilbert to go visit Kohl's. And there's a lot of businesses out there that we need to have them in our area so that we don't go somewhere else to shop for these things. So I think that's really important. But I think as a city, we need to work on our reputation. We need to make it a friendly place for us to be. We need to make sure that people recognize us as a very nice place to be and that they want to come and do business with us. We want to make sure that it's a friendly and safe community so that they want to come and shop with us. Because people are not going to come if they feel threatened by the environment and the community. So I think it's really important that we work together, and I think the farming community, all the technology community, we have a lot of great restaurants here. And I go to Santa Cruz and I miss some of the restaurants we have here in Watsonville. So I think we need to expand our service industry, our restaurants, and really make sure that we have a high-end restaurants as well as in the restaurants we have now. And I really want to encourage them to continue growing and really do well in our area. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go right down the line to Steve. You're next.
As part of the Renaissance movement, the first thing we need to do is appoint a Watsonville Renaissance group made up of Chamber of Commerce and other elected officials, city council members, city manager, people who are interested in bringing and literally giving a rebirth to the business community, because it does need it. We just suffered a terrible 10-year recession, and we're still paying for it. When I go out door to door to talk to people, they say, why do I have to, with my family, go out of town to be able to enjoy some family entertainment? Very clearly, it's because we lost our bowling alley years ago. We don't have any inexpensive family entertainment places, or very few that exist in town, in our city. We need them because that keeps sales tax dollars here. The Watsonville Renaissance Group would put together a group of, through their experience, successes, failures, opportunities, and also threats. Because when you're establishing a business, there are all kinds of factors that can threaten it and bring it down. We need to identify those. That group then would establish a community-based organization that would reach out to people who are interested in establishing businesses. We already have a first-time home buyers set of workshops. Why don't we have a first-time business owners workshop as well? We need to do this in order to encourage people to go into business in Watsonville. That will raise our sales tax base. Another good reason why we need to do this is because of the fact if we're going to attract visitors to the city, thanks to the Los Angeles Times article that ran July 22nd, that was mostly a love poem to the city of Watsonville and its beaches, we need to pass Propositions G and H and O. Proposition O would be raise the bed tax and bring us some more money. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Before we move on, I do want to remind everyone, if you do choose to stand, and that's okay, you can. This is being recorded, people want to hear it later, and if you're going to stand, just take the microphone up with you. Think Bob Barker, right? Right? So just take the microphone up with you, and make sure that you can be heard later by those not in attendance. So thank you for that. All right, same question. Third candidate in this district, Ari.
I believe it's not the role of government to create new businesses. It's our job to help create a good business environment. So for within our city, working together with the city manager, the council must create policies and rules that make sense so that businesses find Watsonville more attractive than any other place. First and foremost, we must be concerned with the businesses that are currently here, that they continue to thrive and even expand in our city. We must support an overall positive business climate in our city. So much of our budget comes from utility taxes, sales tax, and TOTs, which are transient occupant taxes. Currently, Measure O will increase our TOT, or hotel motel occupancy tax, from 11% to 12%, which will create an increase of about $100,000 over the next year, and more as they continue. Businesses that I would like to see maintained and developed in Watsonville. Well, businesses that create revenue, businesses that build community, businesses that pique the interest of consumers and draw them from outside the city and from inside the city. This is exactly what's happening out in our district in the Eastlake Village Shopping Center, where they've begun this transformation from a struggling shopping center into a new, vibrant, thriving village, embracing our uniqueness and supporting our local community. I have the open and positive support of many business people like George Couch, Chris and Clark Codiga, and Manny Rodriguez, among others. They know that I believe in a brisk dialogue where we understand and listen to our business people, their struggles, and as well as the needs of all of our residents. The council and the city manager alike must be focused on working towards a solution that benefits business and the city of Watsonville as a whole. Thank you.
What's that?
Are you a shot at this one too?
No, you had your time on the mic, we'll never let a mic keep time, I know. All right, let's move back up here to District 4, and we'll start with Jenny, please.
Is that close enough? Yes, thank you. Well, the question is very interesting, attracting businesses to Watsonville and how I'm going to work with city manager. I would like to say that I have a very good working relationship with the majority of the city council members. I have 4 who have endorsed me, and I also have had an open policy with the city manager, which I really am grateful for the opportunity of being able to talk to him about the plans and what's going on with Watsonville. I think that we need to work closely with small businesses that we have here in Watsonville. Not to say that we don't need to attract other businesses, but we need to provide the technical support to the businesses that we have locally. These are the businesses that have been in the community, who are invested in the community, and will, as they grow, will hire from within the community. I would also like to say that the city should offer technical support to those businesses so they can grow stronger. Perhaps they need some marketing techniques, perhaps they need some additional lending, funding, and also the city can provide additional resources for businesses, such as streamlining the process of applying and the zoning, and we can provide them that support to make them more viable and stronger. But my first goal is, let's support our local business first.
Thank you, Jenny. All right, 2 minutes, please. Same question for Francisco.
Thank you. The type of businesses I would like to attract to Watsonville, first off, they need to promote health and well-being in the community. It kind of bothers me that we have a food swamp from Freedom Boulevard, Main Street, Green Valley, and it's definitely contributing to the rising diabetes rates in our city. And so for those of you that are hoping for a 4th McDonald's, I am sorry, I will be voting no for a 4th McDonald's. I want businesses that highlight and rely on the strengths that we have as a community. The people of Watsonville, we love to have a good time. We love to be in a crowd, we love to be loud and have fun. We want to hang out, nos encanta chisme, we want to hear music. We're full of life and energy. We need businesses that will let us linger, and I agree. The Gottschalk's building is a perfect building to do that. We do that at the farmer's market already. I sort of think that we need to transform that space, and the Fox Theater too, we need to bring it back. I also love the kitchen incubator. I just think that is a forward-thinking institution. My mom's mole, the green waffle, we need more of those in Watsonville. We don't need buildings that have businesses. We live in the digital age. Thank you to the Digital Net for preparing our future entrepreneurs for that economy. And so, more than anything, we have some hidden gems. You're right, whoever said that, all we do is go to Santa Cruz, we go to Gilroy, and we go to San Jose and Monterey to do our shopping. We have some hidden gems and we need to market them. We need to market the Imuras, the wooden nickel, Miyukis, all the taquerias here. We need to do a better job of giving them credit for the amazing work they do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for that. Time to move on to our next question. We'll mix it up. No, Lowell. Am I supposed to let Lowell talk? He's telling me time in the back, and Shaw's is saying yes. Should I let Lowell? All right, I'm sorry. We'll let Lowell.
Okay, I'm sorry we don't have a hand mic here. I could go out in the audience and maybe do a little Jerry Springer show. Because we got a couple empty chairs here, and I think a couple of them are probably my opponents, apathy and indifference. So let's think about what we really want in Watsonville, and it's not just about what I want. There's a dozen different shops and stores that I might like to have, a TJ Maxx, a Panera, a Trader Joe's, a downtown theater, access to the Mellow Center, there's an entertainment venue, maybe a dress shop for my wife, a place to buy a coat and a tie. Hey, we could do a lot, but it's not the city's job to go out and say, hey, Mr. Hanson, how about that big building out there? Let's put a TJ Maxx in there and do it this week, please. No, that's a private industry, and we need to respect the private industry and work with private industry, and get out of the way of private industry whenever we can. So let's think about what we do have. Agricultural technology, and I'm really glad to see some ag folks in the audience here this evening. That's really the growth job generator in our community, and we need to maximize on that all we can. Science, technology, marketing, shipping, you name it. I think that we can make a lot of progress there. Jobs that pay a livable wage, that's what I would like to see. Jobs that generate sales tax and create jobs that are healthy jobs that provide a pension and a retirement for our senior citizens. So why don't we all get together and work on that collectively? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, let's move on to our next question here. Question number 3. Let's start at the far end. We're going to go to District 7. And we will go, what do you think is the best usage of the rail corridor? And what are your thoughts on the expansion of Highway 1? Let's mix it up. We'll start with Steve.
Well, having been to the RTC meetings most of the last year, thank you. Having been to the RTC meetings most of them last year, it was quite rewarding to have the presentation from the SMART system, from the SMART system that now operates in Sonoma and Marin counties. This system, which would run every half hour between Santa Cruz and Watsonville, would provide almost effortless transportation as an alternative to Highway 1. We all know Highway 1 is the parking lot for much of the time, and the idea of expanding Highway 1 as a person who's been endorsed by the Sierra Club, I'm sorry, but that doesn't work. That would cause so much harm to the flora and fauna. It would do more harm than good, and would also tie up the freeway for God knows how many months, maybe into years. We need to look at the fact we need both rail and trail. The SP right-of-way has been there forever. It doesn't have to disrupt, while it's under construction, the freeway. I do think that our Highway 1 freeway should have a bus lane in places where it is safe to run a bus lane. Some of those portions on the shoulder are not particularly safe for that, but I do believe that in some areas it could work. And I also believe that if we're going to look at alternative transportation, We also need to examine a water taxi running from Moss Landing to Santa Cruz, operated by a private vendor. We have all kinds of ways to get from one place to another. This one we haven't explored. I would very much like to see us do this, but just simply to add one more lane to Highway 1 would be a nightmare. We don't need that. What we do need, however, is the optimism that requires. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I don't have to rudely cut anybody, they're cutting themselves, that's good, I like it, all right. Let's try to keep it that way and be respectful. All right, same question for Ari, thank you.
Before you start the clock, I just want to say, you've got a lot of educators up here, so we know when it's on. Okay, so what do I think the best usage of the rail corridor and my thoughts on expansion? I got to start with what I think is important is that freight train service. The services work within the city of Watsonville, and maintaining this is imperative to our economy here in Watsonville. We need to be able to move produce and products, period. I remember when I was young, the glass roundhouse and all the trains in Pajaro, I believe that freight and passenger train service connecting at the Pajaro Junction in Monterey County is amazing and achievable. The passenger rail north of Watsonville city limits just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense by the numbers. How much money would it take to fix all the rails across the county? Millions, maybe tens of millions. How many people would ride the train instead of drive the freeway? The RTC has presented no facts to tell us there will be enough people to impact the gridlock best at Highway 1's commute. Caltrans data shows that over half of the northbound traffic exits to Highway 17. It wouldn't help them to ride the train. So I'm going to go back to what I see, and what probably many of you do, too. I see that the RTC spend millions of dollars on a study that's not definitive. Measure D taxes are being used to fund those studies. Why can't they take the money they're wasting and apply it to Highway 1, and I disagree with Steve, and make a third lane? What are the majority of the people of South County residents doing? Well, 90% of them are in cars and buses. We need solutions for all people. For South County, that means we need a third lane on Highway 1. Emergency vehicles not being able to travel the gridlock freeway just doesn't make sense. I sometimes think that the rail trail issue is a big smoke screen to cover the fact that North County doesn't want a third lane on the highway. So the best usage of the rail, I believe it's called rail banking. Don't pull out the rail, but allow the corridor to be used as a trail. On the expansion of Highway 1, yes, we need a new third lane. South County needs a third lane. We don't have to spend time studying it. It was needed 10 years ago, and the crisis has just gotten worse. We need real, honest, achievable solutions for our South County commuters, not years of wasting time on studies that aren't conclusive. Thank you.
Thank you, Ari, and the third candidate in District 7, Lupe.
Yes, I think we pretty much agree on most of the issues. I think the rail should be used for transporting products. We are an area that produces a lot of products, a lot of produce. We need to get it efficiently to wherever it's going to sell. So that's really important. But I also think that the rail needs to be used to transport our people to different places. We are citizens, some of us are seniors, and we'd rather be able to get on the rail than be able to get to somewhere. I drive to Bakersfield on a regular basis. My children live there. It's such a hardship to try to get anything out of here to be able to get to places like Bakersfield or LA. I think we need to work on that rail trail to really make it productive and a place that we can do it. If you're going from Bakersfield to San Francisco, from Bakersfield to Fresno, you can do all those things. But here we can't do it. So we need to figure out some solution to be able to use the rail more effectively. As for the expansion of the freeway, I think we need it. There's areas that are so gridlocked. You go to Santa Cruz. Luckily, I think to myself, I am so glad that I'm retired, that I don't have to travel that road every day. But I feel sorry for the people that have to go to Santa Cruz and work over there and then come back home. I mean, they're losing about an hour and a half every day because they're stuck in that traffic. So I think we need to have expansion. We need to have it for this emergency vehicles. We need to have it for our commuters and our students that are attending UCSC and are trying to go back and forth. They can't live over there in UCSC. Most of them come and live somewhere else, so they have to go back and forth. So I think it's really essential that we make efficient use of both of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. All right, let's move down to this side. We're going to come down here to District 4. Same question for Francisco.
Thank you. The rail, both a commuter rail and a freighter, I think is fine if it meets the unique needs of the people of Watsonville, as Lupe nicely said. I would like something that benefits the businesses in Watsonville. I'd like something that would benefit the seniors, students, the working class, and the farm workers. I'm kind of tired that farm workers are always sort of left out in a lot of these conversations, and they need relief too. And so if the budget makes sense, if we can allocate, if we can, it's going to be a long-term project, I would support something like that for sure. The trail, I love the trail. Anything that gets people out walking, getting exercise, getting healthier, let's do it. I'm totally for that. I also support alternative modes of transportation, programs like Bike Santa Cruz County that teaches kids to ride bikes and carpool and an efficient bus system. The widening of Highway 1, I think if the people of District 4 want that, I will support it. But to me, all these things are just sort of band-aids, to be honest with you. How long is that third lane going to last us before the population growth catches up again and then we're going to need a fourth lane? Why don't we look at the root of the problem? People are leaving Watsonville because they need to go to work in Santa Cruz and in San Jose. Another lane and the train would only serve businesses in Santa Cruz and in Santa Cruz and San Jose. The workforce is going over there. They don't have to invest in housing or anything because we drive from here over the hill. And so economic development will probably be the thing that saves us, that will be sustainable, keeping people here. People don't have to leave work. They can stay in their community. They can live in their community. They can go pick up their kids at school. Don't have to drive an hour or more to come back. That to me is a long-term solution. It's going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be a lot of difficult conversations that we're going to have. Thank you.
Thank you, Francisco. Same question for your opponent, Jenny Sorrento.
Okay, I strongly support the rail and trail, and I have from the beginning, because I see that the gridlock that people from Watsonville have to face every single day. It's not fair. People who are making minimum wage have to spend about 3 hours on that road coming and going. Widening the Highway 1 is truly not a reality. I think this conversation has been happening for the last 20, 30 years when I first moved to Santa Cruz. And I don't believe that it will alleviate even if we add another lane. We have highways in Southern California, in San Jose, 3, 4, 5 lanes, and they're still packed. Gridlock every single day. We have a unique opportunity to work on the corridor. This is something that we should work, we should fight for. It will get lots of people out of their cars to take the train to North County. It will connect us to South County. It will take us to Pajaro, Salinas, and eventually throughout the state. This is the solution that we need to work on. Lots of countries, lots of other cities, even in our state, are already doing this. And yes, it may be difficult at the beginning, and I'm not saying it will be cheap, it will cost us. But the investment that we're making on the quality of life, on work, and our community is worth it.
Thank you. Let's hear from District 3, Lowell.
Thanks for giving me a chance to speak here. I appreciate
I get that.
I appreciate being able to utilize this room that some people have worked hard to bring to the public. When it comes to the rail and the trail, I think I'm supportive of both those concepts. I think people do need to get out and exercise, ride their bicycles, take a nice long walk somewhere. People suggest that I take a long walk all the time. It's usually off a deep pier somewhere. So, the freight is a real big bonus, I think, for agricultural and frozen food. I don't know that a lot of fresh produce can survive a trip to the East Coast, but I think that packaging and frozen materials, as well as agricultural supplies, be they bulk or boxed or bagged, I think there's a lot of opportunities to support agriculture through freight. But there is a problem on the freeway, and it needs to be fixed. And I don't know what the fix is, but it needs to, it's gridlocked, it's backed up, it needs a fix. And so I think more study needs to be, not study, but, we really need to do something about the freeway. It needs to be fixed. So, hey, why don't we fix the freeway too, huh? More, back to the rail for a second. There is going to be a movement in Monterey County to have a commuter line from Salinas to San Jose to Gilroy. It could stop in Pajaro Junction. You could get on a train in the Pajaro Junction, perhaps, sometime in the future, and actually go to the outside world. So that's a reality that is going to happen. We think, that's what they say. So I don't know if we're ready to run out and buy our ticket quite yet, but they say it's coming. So let's support what we can when we can.
Thank you all. Moving on to District 5, Casey, please.
So as already explained earlier, at this very moment, Watsonville is using our section of the corridor for freight. It is helping to drive the economic engine of Watsonville and its surrounding areas. I recognize the importance of transportation, whether that be trails, rails, or via freeway. We have one shot at this. I want to make sure that we make the right decisions that will benefit the community as a whole, so that we can utilize it to its highest and best abilities. With that being said, we already have a freeway infrastructure that approximately 80% of the county residents utilize, and it is in need of repair. I feel that it would be prudent to invest our tax funds into our existing infrastructure. On another note, there will be a corridor study workshop in this very room at 6 p.m. on October 16th. I encourage all Watsonville and South County residents to attend and give your opinion of how you think it could be best utilized. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally for this question, Rebecca Garcia.
When I read about what my thoughts were on the expansion of Highway 1, immediately I thought more concrete. And I said, no, we don't need more concrete. What we need is alternative modes of transportation to relieve congestion on Highway 1. The rail corridor can be an option. First, the rail will continue to provide freight rail for several of our businesses. They would not survive without that freight rail. Passenger rail for our residents that work or attend schools in North County could reduce the amount of cars on the freeway, and consequently, it also would reduce fuel consumption, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and reduce air pollution. A rail system will also expand options for seniors, children, people with disabilities, low income, and those who cannot or do not drive. RTC is conducting a study, which I believe is going to be completed in December, to determine the feasibility of a rail system for Santa Cruz County. It will be looking at economics, the environmental impact, ridership projections, among many other issues. And at that time, we'll determine if we can proceed. Well, I'm really looking forward to that report because I have some personal questions that remain unanswered for me. So, for example, how is that rail system going to be paid for? I've heard that we'll have another tax. I will not support another tax. And also the people that will be using the rail for jobs particularly are often low income. What would the cost of that rail cost for them? What does that cost? And also, what is the environmental impact that will occur when we have to refurbish the rail system. So with that, I'm looking forward to the study and see what it says.
Excellent, thank you. All right, we did the intros, we did 2 questions. We have 2 questions left and the wrap-up, so we're basically at the halfway point. Let's move on to question number 4. I'm going to start over here in District 4 again this time, just as a warning. This one's about homelessness. Homelessness continues to be a major problem, and an enormous amount of city money is being spent addressing the homelessness issues. In your view, what solutions could the city explore to better address homelessness here in Watsonville? Let's start with Jenny, please.
Okay, the homeless population, I think we really need to look at it in different ways. The city's spending a lot of money in responding to incidents, but not responding to services to the homeless. So all we're doing is responding to somebody who's having a situation, an incident, and that's how we're paying for those services. I believe that the best way to serve the homeless population is to break it down in different categories. We need to look at the people who are about to become homeless because they lost their job, because they don't have enough money to pay for the electricity bill or the rent or buy food, so they are at risk of being homeless. Those are the people that we need to set up programs where we can help them immediately so they don't become homeless. The next thing that we need to do is look at those who have recently become homeless and how we can provide them perhaps with additional work, training, to be able to get them back in a home, provide, the deposit, small loans with low interest rates. Now, the third category are the people that perhaps are the ones that are taking most of the resources, and those are the chronic homeless people who have mental health needs and also substance abuse needs. The county is opening a clinic where they will provide services to several people with mental health issues. However, this model of having homeless people come to a clinic does not work. The model that the Watsonville Police has, where they go to certain areas with a social worker to address those needs and build a relationship with them, that's the best model. Then you gain rapport and trust.
Thank you. Francisco?
Thank you. One of the first things I'd like to do is sort of have a public campaign because, walking around, canvassing door to door, sometimes you hear some things, some comments, and I kind of ask people, like, where's your humanity, A lot of these people, didn't choose to be homeless. A lot of people, as Jenny mentioned, they're dealing with a health condition, psychiatric, emotional issues, domestic violence, sexual abuse, disability, trauma, bankruptcy. And so these are people, and these are people that need help. And I think a better campaign that sort of, again, show the human side of all this is much needed. We need compassion and empathy, and they go a long way. To add to some of the things that Jenny said, that well said, I kind of, maybe some drop-in centers, some mobile sites to be able to serve people in certain areas of our community, some host homes. Maybe, I know it's kind of extreme, or it might be, some people aren't used to the idea, but that could probably be something important. Working with crisis response teams or neighborhood teams to provide them with strategies on how to approach and how to better help these individuals. Building housing units, as the one Jenny mentioned as well, with wraparound services on site 24 hours to be able to uplift these people, to provide them with the services that they need, and vocational programs for sure to get them back, integrate them back into our community. Innovative programs like the Homeless Garden Project in Santa Cruz, which I love, and I'm kind of hoping we'll have something like that here sooner or later. And intervene before things really get, give people the tools and the knowledge and education to seek out the services they need before things get really bad. And Measure H has some money that I think will help us along the way too. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's keep going in that same line, right down the line. Let's go to District 3, Paul.
Thank you very much. The key to solving homeless issues is prevention. Prevention. A lot of people need mental health, and they're not always willing to go get it. And so I'm not sure how you apply that standard, but for those that need assistance with mental health, we need to make sure those services are more readily available. A lot of people lose their homes and for one reason or another, and they can't make it, so they're out on the street. So we need to do something about prevention of people losing their homes and being cast out upon the street. Substance abuse is a great big piece of it too. There's a lot of folks that live in the woods and the sloughs and the drainage ditches and under the bridge that are heavy drug users of one kind or another, and they need some intervention as well. So prevention is the key. I think the model the police are using currently, I think it's a little new to see if we're really getting a lot of success out of it. But homelessness is not just a problem in Watsonville, it's a problem nationwide and statewide and regionally wide as well. So we need to look at other models that are effective and have proven themselves and try and invest our money wisely through prevention activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. All right, same question. Let's go to District 5, Rebecca Garcia.
In 2016, the City Council adopted the Santa Cruz County All-In Homeless Plan. The plan specifically addresses South County. The plan has short-term goals and long-term goals. One of the short-term goals was to have a centralized one-stop day center for people experiencing homelessness so they could go during the day. Well, we have accomplished that. The city worked hand in hand with the Salvation Army, and a few weeks ago, the day center was open to our homeless community. There are showers, washer and dryers, beds to rest, computers, and offices for agencies with resources to help them get out of homelessness. They address issues of housing, health care, transportation, legal aid, employment, and much more. So that's a start in terms of homelessness. However, a long-term goal is to provide additional emergency shelter and transitional housing for the South County families. When I spoke to the captain of the Salvation Army, he said that would be the next step. So monthly, the city meets with a group of community organizations to address the goals of All-In plan, and they will be addressing this goal. In addition, our city manager and I are members of a county-wide committee that is addressing the issue of governance for homelessness. The goal is to enhance city and county communication, coordination, and collaboration to address homelessness countywide. So Watsonville will be working with the county and the other cities to address homelessness in Watsonville. And just on another note, yesterday I was informed that I have been nominated for an award by Smart Solutions to Homelessness for my advocacy of homelessness, which will be presented at the Community Recognition Reception on October 21st.
Thank you. All right, Casey.
Well, I work in the mental health industry, so this is a subject that I could talk about for the next 8 years, but I will keep my answer short. Watsonville does spend a large amount of money on the cleaning of homeless camps and fire suppression. The homeless put financial stress on our medical care systems as well. During a recent ride-along with the Watsonville Police Department, I spoke at length about the issues that our police face on a daily basis. These are chronic issues within our community and society. It will take our community as a whole to work with multiple agencies on the city level, county level, and state level to develop many creative solutions. One solution will not fix all. This has been and will continue to be an uphill battle, unfortunately. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. Let's move down to District 5. We will, District 7, I mean, we'll start with Steve.
In terms of homelessness as being probably one of the great pressing issues of our time, the facility at 104 Grant Union, which provides
Pick up the microphone. Thank you.
which provides, 104 Grant, which provides beds for 38 people and showers and lockers and computers, is essential. And as Casey just said, it is a huge problem and it has many facets to it. The reason why I support proposition or Measure H is because of the fact it will provide an intake center, one in Watsonville, one in Santa Cruz, for those who are suffering from mental illness and those who are suffering from drug addiction. This is an incredible opportunity for this county to deal with a problem that many counties simply won't acknowledge. And we're not going to get any money from Washington, D.C. The Trump circus and the trained elephants that parade as a Republican Congress are not going to give California money because we're being punished because we're bad, according to them. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, this is a problem we're going to have to resolve on our own because we're not getting help from D.C. And it's a huge problem because of the fact these people are walking around in great pain and great suffering. And even though mostly they're, for the most part, they're no danger to anybody else, they are nonetheless in great pain. And we need to realize that mental illness is a disease. It's not a character defect. And the same is true for addiction. Again, it is a chemical problem with the body, and it is not a character defect. So we need to stop and drop the Victorian judgmental attitudes about the homeless who are mentally ill and who are mentally or who have chemical addictions in order to take care of our society. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Athena Lupe, please.
Yes, this homeless issue is a personal issue for me because I've been involved with working with the homeless. At our church, we serve meals, we prepare meals at the church and take them over to the shelter, the Salvation Army, and we feed the homeless. So I get to see these people on a regular basis. We also have people camping out at our church, and we've had to clear areas, and so we're dealing with people that have emotional issues. But the other thing that I've also been working with, I worked in the warming center. I volunteer my time to be there so that they have a place to be at night and away from the cold. But when you see these people, you see that it's an issue, multiple issues of homelessness, but poverty, but alcoholism, mental health issues. And I think one of the biggest solutions that we can do is work with the agencies that are already working with these people. CAB, Community Action Board, and other agencies we met not too long ago on a poverty summit, and we talked about these issues. And I was amazed at all the things that CAB is already doing. They provide rent assistance, they provide electrical assistance, they provide all kinds of services already. I hear United Way is doing a lot of good things, and there's a lot of programs out there that are very good programs. But I think we need to coordinate the services. You know, somebody's doing this, somebody's doing that, but nobody really talks to each other. So I think coordination of services would be a key to solving some of this problem, because we need to see what's happening and what's working and what's not working. And I think we need to really work together as a city and agencies to really try to solve the problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Lupe. And our final one for this question, Ari, please.
So without a doubt, excuse me, homelessness is a major crisis that's far bigger than Watsonville. Homelessness is everywhere. It's especially impacting along the west coast of America. It is a big issue, and it's something that Watsonville can't respond to on its own. Many homeless individuals, as you heard, suffer from substance abuse, mental health issues, and they far exceed our city's ability to respond. Clearly, the state, county, city, and the nonprofit community need to work in concert to make meaningful progress. Watsonville provides about $75,000 a year for warming shelter, spend another $100,000 a year for cleanup and mitigation, and another $50,000 a year in other contracts. But what more can we do? There are some interesting models out there, so I went looking because I had the same thoughts as everyone else. Oceanside is a coastal community just like we are, and they're addressing homelessness in a little bit of a different, non-traditional way. So the first step, and you heard it I think from Lowell, is kind of prevention and collaboration. It takes a village. The City of Oceanside's Neighborhood Services Department works with the Alliance for Regional Solutions, a coalition of 9 cities and more than 50 nonprofit service providers and funders. This was accomplished 11 years ago and now is evolving into a bridge to housing program to move chronically homeless individuals and families into permanent housing. This alliance has taken on implementing a centralized data system used by agencies to ensure that services are being coordinated to maximize resources. So why invent the wheel? Let's look at Oceanside's model and see what we can bring to our Monterey Bay region. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our final question before we get to the wrap-up. Lowell, I'm going to start with you. It's a good way to kick it off. Within city limits, where would you like to see new housing built and developed?
Well, people tell me all the time, we need more new housing, but then they say, hey, but don't put it next to my house. Not in my backyard, please. But there are many opportunities for people to have an accessory unit in their backyard. I think we should streamline some of the permitting requirements for that. There again, there's not much public land available. In fact, very, very little. There's not much private land available either. Very, very little. There are a few church sites with large lots that might have some potential. So I'm hoping that the religious community can think about opportunities like that too. You know, we have a job housing imbalance, and we talked about that a little bit with the transportation issue. How do we densify or provide better homes, and we have approved a lot of homes. In fact, we're really almost built out in many respects. There's not much room to have any more subdivisions or projects of any size. And so it's infill in lots that are already difficult to build upon. They have access problems, they have soil problems, they have environmental problems. It's very tough to cite any future home opportunity. So we have the choice. Well, we really don't have a choice. We're not moving out onto prime agricultural land, so we have to densify, build up, use our resources in the best way we can, and find alternative ways to try and accommodate our growing population. My daughter, who recently moved back to Watsonville with her husband, couldn't find a place that they could afford. She had to move to Marina. And I think that that's kind of a sad note in some ways. But again, I'm kind of glad she's out of town some days.
I don't think Wendy agrees with the grandkids. All right, let's go to District 5. Let's hear from Casey. Same question. See, I like to catch people when they're not ready. That's part of the game.
So there are areas within the city, for example, West Beach, Westlake, the downtown Main Street area, and those areas are where high-density developments are already allowed. With a small amount of land that is already spoken for within the city limits, I think that it is one of our better options to do more high-density housing in those certain areas. As I stated before, I'm all about growth. I'm all about furthering the city, but I want to do it smart. I want to do it slow and steady. Keeping in mind our already taxed infrastructure. That's one thing that I cannot stress enough. I also think that we should look at what we already have before we start looking to annex more land. I do not want to put pavement over viable farmland at all. There is land out there that we might be able to annex that will not hurt the agricultural industry. But I definitely think that we can infill a couple areas within the city before we have to take that drastic measure to start looking outside the city limits. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. Rebecca?
Watsonville is only 6 square miles, and we do not have a lot of vacant land. Nonetheless, in the last 4 years that I've been on the city council, we have approved almost 500 new housing units. And of those housing units, development, 15 to 20% have been affordable units. There are areas, though, however, downtown and on Freedom Boulevard, where mixed use with residential and commercial projects could be developed. Specifically, Watsonville had been in conversation with a private developer to create a public-private development in the old City Hall and Police Department, where housing would be developed alongside the redevelopment of City Hall and the Police Department. It's been temporarily put on hold until specific downtown plans can be developed. We currently are in negotiation with a developer for the Porter building on Main Street. The first floor would be a restaurant, and the second floor would be housing. Last year, I met with a developer who has land on Freedom Boulevard, and he was looking for a possible residential commercial project. Unfortunately, he decided not to move forward because he feared that he might not be able to find commercial tenants. Kiddingly, I mentioned to him he might want to consider a bowling alley. Housing is a great need in Watsonville. I've spoken with the community development director and with the city manager, and have asked them, what can we do to streamline and make it easier for developers to construct housing in Watsonville? The city needs to support developers.
Thank you. We're going to move down to District 7, but before we do, the reason there's 3 people running for District 7, they're not going to come. I just want to say hi, Nancy. Thanks, good to see you here in the front row, as she has turned out here. So thank you for everything you guys. Sitting in the front row listening attentively, I appreciate that. So, all right, let's move on to, same question, let's go to Ari this time.
So, I don't want to be teacher and correct you, Rebecca, but it's 6.7 square miles. That's how big that is. So, what would I like to see, how would I like to see new housing built and developed? I don't think there's any area in town large enough to do any big builds. As Lowell said, there's some religious areas that, property that they may want to think about, but we have commercial areas, but we need to protect them. No revenues coming in to provide for fire and police services, that's a problem. We barely have enough resources for current public safety needs. On my side of town, we still are in desperate need of an emergency services center. We have the downtown, which suffers from a lack of people and foot traffic. And regrettably, no matter how much I wanted to be the main street I grew up on, it doesn't look like that's feasible. We've been saddled with a problem created by short-sightedness in the past, housing individuals with mental health and substance issues in the once majestic downtown hotels. It seems that the only place to build, other than the tearing down of blighted neighborhoods or apartment buildings, is to build up in the downtown. So Bill Hanson's development on Main Street, apartments above and multi-use commercial spaces below, has shown how that's possible and how the vertical usage of the downtown will bring businesses and foot traffic back to our deserted Main Street. But we do need to have some courageous developers. So I agree with Rebecca. We have to have a clear vision of what Watsonville's downtown could become. And as a city council, we need to be creative, reach out in a courteous and an inclusive way to encourage this more positive vertical use of our downtown area. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go right next to you, Steve, please.
In the past, much of the upper floors of Main Street, all those buildings, was housing. It can be today, it should be today. It doesn't have to necessarily house the mentally ill and the drug dependent, but it should be refurbished, and that's why I'm supporting Proposition, or Measure H, because it does provide a $140 million bond issue to either refurbish or build low-cost housing. We are pretty much zoned out as far as much area to build new housing, but there are a lot of empty lots on Freedom Boulevard. They don't all have to be commercial. And by the way, other cities in California are building tiny home communities, including Sacramento. I would like to see at least try one here on Freedom Boulevard. God knows we've got enough empty asphalt lots, more than we need, and to be honest with you, they're ugly. We can much better serve the community if we have a combination of commercial development and also residential development, tiny homes that are working in other parts of the nation. In addition to that, we also need to explore granny units, as other local cities are. And yes, I know it causes a problem with parking, but I do think that we can at least consider those individuals for granny units that are off the street, would provide at least one space for off-street parking. And I think that since there are so many of those anyway throughout the city, that maybe we ought to offer an amnesty for those that have already built them, and offer a $50 fee so that people can go to the building code enforcement and ask them to come and make sure that the unit that they have meets all minimum codes. Because if they don't meet minimum codes, we're looking at possible all kinds of major problems, including fire. So we can't necessarily build a large community in an area that we don't have, but we need to do some creative idea solving, as I suggested. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. All right, to your right, Lupe.
Yes, housing is a very big issue. As a school board member, a former school board member, we looked at populations in schools, and one of the issues that was going to be coming up pretty soon is overpopulation of some of these schools. Some of these schools are at max, they can't take any more children, so there might be a rebounding. So those are issues that we need to look at. So he was saying, well, where would I like it to be built? And like he says, most of us don't want housing built in our backyard. When we had Anzoldo came in, the school Anzoldo came in, apartments came in, we saw all the traffic that it created. But I think there's also needs to be other issues that we looked at. For example, housing in downtown area. We see families that are living 2 or 3 families in a very crowded conditions. And as a teacher, that concerns me because these children are living in very crowded, unsafe situations. So I think we need to look at also housing and how it's being enforced, the housing situation, so that the landlords are not over renting to these people and taking advantage of these people. And we see that a lot in the city. Also, I think we need to look at codes and see how we can work with codes and make sure that we can build. I live in a senior community, and one of the things that I'm looking at is, okay, what am I going to do when I get older? Do I move out and move into a retirement community? I'm thinking, okay, I have a back area, a back patio, a back sunroom. Why can't I convert that into maybe a caretaker unit? So those are some things that maybe we could look at, because we need somebody there with us, but I don't want them living with me, but behind me, that would be great. So those are issues that we need to look at. Our church also has a big space close to the Pajaro River there, and it slopes down. But we looked into it and building some apartments back there, and they said we couldn't build. So I think we need to look at different policies and how we write rules and regulations so that people can be creative about where they build. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's wrap up this question with District 4. We'll start with Francisco.
Thank you. As everybody's pretty much mentioned, we're kind of at capacity here in Watsonville. And I do agree with Ari when she says that, past administrations were a bit short-sighted on some of these plans. But we do need better policies, and really enforce some of these policies or ideas or our priorities as a community. There is a housing shortage, and I see the terrace, and the terrace is beautiful. I'm grateful to whoever built that. Thank you for building it there. But my only criticism is that who can afford a 650 square feet studio for $1,600 a month? That's not for us. That's for other people. So that's my only criticism about that. So, what's the point of having that if people can't afford it or can't access it? Obviously, we can only build up. at this point, high density. The days of having big lawns and front yard and everything are probably gone in Watsonville. That saddens me a lot. I love all the houses on Brewington and these older houses. They're majestic, and I'm sad that we're not going to have that anymore in our community. I'd like to reassess some older properties, analyze and assess how we use the space. Some counties are experimenting with garage conversions that meet state and city regulations, second units on properties that exist already. Mixed use, I love. And I like to work with the farm bureaus, some of the bigger companies here, Driscoll's, Ryder, for farm worker housing. I don't want to compromise or sacrifice farming, but I think we can work in a smart way to get workers there, space to live and to work. And like Felipe Hernandez always says, this is a regional issue. We need to stress it to our supervisors that we need Santa Cruz's help and Capitola's help and SoCal and Silicon Valley and beyond, because we can't do this alone. Thank you.
Thank you. Like I already said, you guys are doing great. Maybe it's the teachers here. You guys are doing great at the time. Thank you. All right, let's wrap this up with Jenny, last but not least. Thank you.
Okay. So one of the things that we have to stop thinking is large developments. We don't have the space. Everybody has already covered that. We don't have the space. But as I go canvassing in my area, and I've canvassed for other people in the past, there are a lot of vacant places, lots, that could be built, 2 smaller units. We can have a duplex, triplex. So we have to think about that model. I was so excited yesterday at the Planning Commission because Habitat for Humanity came to get their plans approved. They will be building on airport, and it's only 6 to 7 units. However, that is going to make a big difference for some families that will be putting the work to build a home that they can live in. Downtown, multi-use, like everybody else said, I agree with that. And I just think that one of the things as we build dense communities, we also need to think about transportation. So this is why it's crucial for us to have the rail corridor available so people can get out of their cars, can maybe just have 1 car per family and walk and take the train or the bus. So it's possible. We stop thinking large developments, and even as Lupe mentioned, for some of the seniors, perhaps some of the seniors need to reconsider in having 2, 3 houses converted into 4plexes, where they share an area, they build relationships, more community. There are a lot of different ideas that we can look at. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we did the introductions in the beginning going this way. We're going to do the wrap-up coming this way. I do want to remind anyone that came in late, though, that this has been recorded. It was not live streaming, but it will be on YouTube later. If you want to write down this address, I'll say it one more time. Otherwise, it will be on the Chamber's website on Monday, but it will be available on YouTube on Friday. The YouTube address is John Doe, 2 different words, John Doe 13K. John space Doe 13K. It'll be on that channel on Friday. Otherwise, the Chamber's website on Monday. All right, let's do 1 minute wrap up. We will start at the far end and work our way this way. Shaw's, now if your timer ready. All right, let's start with Lupe. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate all of you being here. I just want to say that I'm very active in the community. I have advanced credentials. I have a lot of experience. So I really would like to highlight some of those things. I have a doctorate degree in education, over 35 years of teaching, and both as an administrator and as a teacher. I've also served on the school board for 4 years, so I have a lot of experience working with policies, budgets, and making decisions, work very closely with my council members and make sure my city school board members to make sure that we make the proper decisions. So I'm very eager to be on this board. I'm retired, so I have the time and the energy, and I really have the passion for this community. And I really would like to make sure that this community gets what it deserves, equity in all areas of our community and opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to remind everyone, the three at the far end are all three running in District 7. The second of those is Steve Trujillo. Steve, you've got a minute.
Thank you all for coming. It's all very, very good to see all of you here. I wish there were more, but those of you who decided to show up, I hope that we haven't disappointed you. I'm very gratified to have the support of two members of the City Council, Jimmy Dutron sitting in the back of the room, and Rebecca Garcia. It means a lot to me to have both of them supported. And also Robert Rivas, who's our Democratic candidate for the State Assembly. The whole idea of Watsonville Renaissance is that we need to move forward, not backward, which means, yes, we need to have a rail and trail. Yes, we need to really aggressively work at solving the homeless problem. We need to pass measures G and H because we need to have an intake center for the mentally ill and chemically dependent. And we need to start cleaning up our city and county parks because they are in some disrepair due to the homeless situation. And in addition to that, we have to recognize that we are hopefully going to see the Renaissance come to fruition. So thank you very much.
All right, wrapping up the three candidates in District 7, Ari Parker.
My name is Ari Parker, and I'm running for Watsonville City Council. I'm honest, fair, and I believe in transparency. I'm a California Native American of the Alma-Mutsun Tribal Band, and I've served on my tribal council as well as being a proud American who has immigrant ancestors from Spain, Mexico, Ireland, England, Sweden, France, Croatia, and Italy. I'm pretty much a product of the Pajaro Valley. Currently, I am a Santa Cruz County Women's Commissioner, City of Watsonville Parks and Recreation Commissioner, the Vice Chair of Watsonville Measure G, Safety Oversight Committee, and the Vice President of Independent Square. It's a disabled and senior housing facility. I love Watsonville. So many good things are happening here. But in District 7 and other districts in Watsonville, we still live under a threat of flooding. Things are better now, but the threat of flooding still exists. So I want to keep focused on the Army Corps of Engineers and what we can do to get that 100-year floodplain. I live in the Pajaro Valley, work here, and I've raised my family here. I know local government is the most accessible government, and I will work hard to be accessible and effective. Thank you.
All right, as a reminder, the next two are District 5. We'll start with the incumbent, currently Rebecca Garcia. 1 minute.
In addition to receiving endorsements from individuals in District 5 and in the city, I have received endorsements from several organizations. I received the endorsement from the Sierra Club, from the GLBT Alliance, from the local SEIU 521 and Monterey Bay Central Labor Council, and this afternoon was interviewed by the Farm Bureau. The Farm Bureau endorsed me 4 years ago, so there's a possibility that they will endorse me today. And why I share that with you is because it shows that I have the capacity to earn the respect and the support of a very diversified group of residents. I work with all to make Watsonville a more wonderful place to live. So please vote for me on November the 6th.
And also running in District 5, Casey Clark.
I just want to say that it was a pleasure to take part in this forum tonight, and I hope that I can have the honor of serving the people of Watsonville. I will do my best to ensure that the actions that we take today are not just a flash in the pan that will fizzle out over time and become a burden for future generations. To also share some of the diversity of the people that are backing me here in this area. Current Mayor Lowell Hurst, Councilwoman Trina Coppin-Gomez, Greg Cabot, former Mayor of Watsonville Todd McFerrin, and Raid Farhat. Thank you very much, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Casey. Two candidates in District 4. Let's start with Jenny Sarmiento.
Great. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share my experience and my goals for Watsonville High. Not High, I'm sorry. The city of Watsonville. You can tell I used to work with Watsonville High. spent the last 5 years on the Planning Commission, along with many years as a professional, including as executive director and serving on several boards. I've collaborated in all this time with just about every agency in the county. Preparing for my role in the community, I've attended several workshops and trainings on water issues, housing, homelessness, and other important issues. Many of these topics will be important as a city council member, and I'm ready to take that opportunity. I'm ready to meet the social, fiscal, and professional responsibility of the role of the city council and also the mayor. Thank you. Please vote for me.
And we're running against City District 4, Francisco Estrada.
Thank you. We have a lot of challenges ahead of us, but, I have good news for everyone here. We don't have to look far for our solutions because I am proof that we are the solution, I'm a product of the buried and soccer fields of the Pajaro Valley. I'm a product of our finest teachers in our public institutions. I think I represent the spirit of hard work, and I'm also the product of dozens and dozens of people that have had faith in me. And so I'm ready to work for them. I'm ready to work for the people of District 4 in the city of Watsonville. And I'm ready to invest in our people, and I'm ready to, I'm ready for this. And together, no one can stop us. Thank you.
Before we wrap up, just want to say thank you everyone for coming tonight. This was a collaboration between the Chamber of Commerce here in Pajaro Valley, as well as the Santa Cruz County Business Council, which I'm a board member of. One of the reasons I'm up here too, and a former board member of the Pajaro Valley Chamber of Commerce. Let's wrap it up with Mr. Lowellhurst, your mayor, District 3. Thank you.
I want to thank everyone for coming this evening. I think there are a lot of solutions in the room, and thank you to the Chamber and the Business Council, because bringing people together is really important. What we need in this city is more cooperation, more communication, partnerships to get real things done, better relationships with the county and the community, and we need to build trust and understanding. Really, all we need to do is go into the other room and see the motto on the wall: opportunity through diversity, unity through cooperation. Again, thank you all for coming, and vote often and vote wisely.
Thank you all the candidates tonight. We appreciate everyone being timely, and thank you. Have a good night.